When it comes to the supply of goods across the entire value chain, wholesale is the linchpin between producers, retailers and the consumer. In fact, it is one of the EU's largest non-financial business sectors, creating some 10 million jobs and accounting for over 22% of all turnover generated. That's a phenomenal 5.7 trillion euros. We talked to Eurocommerce's Ralph Kamphoner to find out the challenges wholesale faces and how they are representing that sector's interests.
Thank you for joining me, Ralph. Eurocommerce covers a wide range of interests, including wholesale. But looking at retail and wholesale, aren't both sides actually competing with each other?
Retail and wholesale closely work together in Eurocommerce. They have done so for 20 years, and if you look at the success story, it is tremendous. There's a lot of coherence in our membership, and that provides us with an opportunity to unite both sides. Both have very similar interests. Eurocommerce has asked its members, do you have different views, different interests? And the answer was extremely clear. On almost all issues on which Eurocommerce works, interests are almost the same.
So what are the common issues that affect both retail and wholesale?
Retail and wholesale both live in the internal market of the European Union. And in the internal market, it's fair to say that we are not yet at the end of the journey. On the contrary, there are so many policy areas where the single market is in urgent need to be completed further. So that is the case for retail and for wholesale. You have another area where retailers and wholesalers' interests are almost exactly the same. And this is the area of international trade, to make sure that European commerce remains competitive internationally and enhances its competitiveness even further. And you have issues like taxation, like electronic commerce, who are also important for retail and wholesale. So if this is the case, if retailers and wholesalers have so many common interests and common issues, there is a clear need for the two parts of commerce, retail and wholesale, to work together strongly.
Didn't I read there was a study conducted by Oxford University into retail and wholesale?
It was a very good study, actually, because it provided a lot of information on how wholesale and retail, both parts of the commerce sector, how they operate and how strong they are. And if you read all these figures and indicators, I was astonished to read how strong and how diversified the commerce sector is. It was really impressive.
So how does Eurocommerce intend to represent wholesale?
Wholesale is inherently horizontal. It stretches across all the policy areas on which Eurocommerce is working. Internal market, international trade, transport, logistics, social affairs. Wholesale has an interest in all these policy areas. So we have made sure that wholesale is represented in all relevant committees in Eurocommerce. It's represented in all our work streams. It's represented in our operating plan. Wholesale takes place day by day in Eurocommerce. That makes, at the end of the day, the success of wholesale in our lobby. Strong involvement. We are open. We welcome wholesalers, we encourage their participation, but at the end of the day it's a shared effort, it's a joint exercise. We need their active contribution, as goes also for the retailers, to make sure that wholesale is understood better also by policymakers in the European Union. We said, what can we do in order to come closer to that goal? And the answer is, just explain what wholesale is, let people know. Members of the European Parliament, officials with the European Commission. You can go to a supermarket, to a small shop, day by day. Everybody does that. That is retail. Wholesale has a different situation. By definition, it is not frequented by consumers day by day. Therefore, we need to make sure that wholesale is understood as a sector by decision makers. And then, once they understood what wholesale is, they will also be in a position to take due account of wholesalers' particular interests.
Sounds like a key moment for wholesale in Eurocommerce. I wish you well, Ralph.
Thank you.